let's be honest, this is like my 10th try making this video. I've tried so many times. Several of them got deleted. A couple of them I couldn't get uploaded to my computer. And the last one, I just didn't like. I don't know. I didn't like it. Let's see, where can I start? So this is going to be basically a summary of my fitness journey, how I started lifting, what made me get into fitness, everything that's happened in between, and what I currently do to eat and what I did in the past, my eating habits, just my fitness overall. It's just going to be like a big summary. I know a lot of people have asked on Instagram for this video, but if you haven't asked, just go away. Honestly, if you're going to comment anything bad, just go away, because this is like personal to me. So where am I going to start? All right, let's start. I grew up in Ukraine up until 8 or 7, so I came over to the United States. But everything in Ukraine that I was eating was pretty much out of a farmer's market. Everything was healthy, out of my grandma's backyard. Every vegetable was homegrown. Everything I was eating, organic and homegrown. There was no processed foods. On occasion, like, I would get a little, like, crackers or something. That's the only processed food I had in Ukraine. So then I came over to the United States, and within, like those couple of years of me, like, going through elementary school, I was introduced to, like, pizza, hot dogs, any type of processed foods, of course chips. I like crunchy foods. So I was introduced to all of those foods, and eventually I put on a little bit of weight, and I didn't really tell at first. I was like, okay, whatever, I'm a little chunky, whatever, I'll lose it. And I just kept eating and eating. I remember coming home from school every day and just eating packets of ramen, like the cups. I'd eat 3 of those every day after school. I would eat, I know my dad used to buy the big Rice Krispie boxes, and I would eat like 8 of those Rice Krispies from there every night, including the 3 ramen noodles and probably like a bag of chips. Obviously that's not healthy eating. What was I? This was 6th grade. And then going into 7th grade, I had obviously gained a little bit of weight from all this eating I've been doing. I felt like I was eating so much because I felt like when I was in Ukraine, I was almost like deprived. And then when I came to the United States, I was like, oh my God, all this food, like, it's amazing. And I just kept eating and eating because I was like, oh my God, what if this like ends? Like, what if this is never ending? Like, I need to get as much as I can now. Or the screen back here. Yes, so I was eating very unprocessed foods, very bad foods. And I remember gaining all this weight. And I remember something that made me think and like get triggered in my mind, like, oh, I'm actually kind of chubby and I need to lose weight, was I was in my neighbor's backyard over the summer, and we were all jumping on the trampoline, and I had like smaller rolls, but like I had rolls, and like my boobs were jumping up and down because they were a little bit bigger when I was chunky. And I remember one of the guys, or I think it was a group of guys, they're like, oh, she runs on cake. And that kind of hit me a little bit. I was like, okay, cool, thanks. At the same time, I remember I had a couple of girlfriends that were telling me like, oh, you put on a little bit of weight, like, you gotta lose some weight, maybe you should chill with eating, whatever. So it hit me, and I remember towards 8th grade, right before 8th grade started, or like this might have been in 8th grade, I finally made the decision to just work out. I had no idea what to do with eating. I didn't know what to eat. I still ate pretty bad. I just kind of lowered what I ate. Like, I tried not to eat as much, but I was still eating terrible. I remember how I started was I started running around my house, like the block around my house, and I just did it for 20 minutes every single night. I'd have my grandma stand outside, and she would just wait for me to finish a block and then finish another block. And I remember I lost a little bit of weight. I didn't lose as much, and I still didn't know what to do. So I started researching, and I found out calories. Everything matters on how many calories you intake, and I had no idea what calories were, no idea what protein, fats, and carbs were. So my first thought was the whole, like, picture a whole cereal box. I thought the whole cereal box was the amount of calories it said on there. I didn't know what per serving meant, so I thought the whole cereal box was what, like 140 calories or 150. So I'm like, okay, I can eat the whole cereal box and be fine. So that's what I did, and I was still doing all this cardio. At one point in the winter, I remember going into my basement and just doing, like, I didn't really know what to do besides cardio workouts, so I was just doing like jumping jacks. I was doing like weird lunges around my basement, running in circles, like high jumps. I remember doing that. I keep saying that. I keep saying I remember doing that. I need to stop. I need to get used to being on camera because honestly, there's nobody here but me and this little camera. So I should just be fine. I remember I was researching like how to work out, what to do. Finally got to high school. So going into high school, I was still wanted to look good. I wanted to look good for myself in general, probably other people too. I just wasn't happy and as confident with myself. I remember right before high school, during lunch in middle school, I would eat lunch in the bathroom sometimes because I didn't want to sit with anyone. I just wasn't confident. I felt very judged, almost like I didn't fit in with everyone. I had a table I could have sat with during lunch, but I remember I chose to sometimes just hang out in the bathroom in the stall for 30, 40 minutes, however long lunch was, and I just sat on my, I think it was an iPod. I had an iPod and I just played games in there the whole time. Days I would just skip lunch and just sit in the bathroom and not eat lunch, which made me think like, oh, what if I kind of start starving myself? Like maybe this will help me. So that's what I pretty much did. So going into high school, I was starving myself. I remember the freshman year of high school, I did have a table to sit with during lunch. This was after middle school, so high school. And all I would bring is apples, carrots to eat for lunch. And then I would go home and I would have like a big binge eat because I didn't eat anything all day besides like an apple or 2 carrots during lunch. So I was pretty much starving myself during the day and then just eating like this big meal at night and binge eating like crazy, and my binge eating couldn't stop. I was like, what is wrong with me? Now I'm into binge eating, but I was still eating back then like crazy, trying to get all these processed foods when I was younger. So I was just mentally like, my brain was like, why am I doing all this stuff? Like, why can't I figure myself out? What is wrong with me? I realized like, what if I go eat and I just go puke it up? So I started doing that. Every day. I would eat a small portion during lunch. Like that small portion, I'd go throw it up. That was not fun for me. I remember my hair got very thin. I just felt very fragile. I'm gonna attach a picture of what I looked like. I remember I lost a lot of weight. There were certain points where I was like, okay, I need to stop. Like, I gotta stop doing this. So another thing led to another. I came across laxatives. Then I started taking laxatives because I thought that would help me. So I'd puke during lunch. Then I would go to home, binge eat a bunch of food, and then take a laxative to just shit it all out. I feel like a piece of shit. That was me for about a couple of months. It was like on and off. It stopped for a little bit because I realized I was like getting too skinny. I didn't like my body. This was definitely an eating disorder that I went through. I probably still have. I was still doing cardio at home in my basement randomly. I remember finally sophomore year hit, I was able to get a gym membership that was like $15 or $10 a month. I started going to the gym. I remember I would walk to the gym, which is a 20-minute walk, and then I would spend an hour on the cardio machines at the gym and walk another 20-30 minutes back home. So it was pretty much like this big cardio thing. But doing that much cardio, I didn't know it was going to make me that hungry. So I still kept binge eating. I don't remember if I was still like puking, taking laxatives, but I remember just binge eating, constantly binge eating. The whole cardio thing made me like, just like a cardio phase made me want to eat more and binge eat, which I can understand. I was just trying to replenish everything I had burned off. What is this? Binge ate most through high school. I remember when I finally got my gym membership, I was doing cardio at the gym. Towards the end of junior year of high school, I moved to a different high school. So I remember my parents didn't want to get me a gym membership because we were just moved in. Like they didn't have much money. They were trying to like pay the house still and pay all these bills, and we had like new bills because it's a new house. So I eventually forced my mom to get me a gym membership. And anytime I did anything bad at home, she would take my gym membership away. She would just cancel it, like, hey, no more gym, like, you can't go anymore, you did this at home, or you didn't do your homework, so I'm gonna take your gym membership away for a week. That's what she pretty much did to me. And I was still doing cardio, still binge eating, junior year. And I don't know what made me want to switch into lifting, but I think I was doing research. I'm always doing research. I was doing research and I came across Nikki Blackketter, Christian Guzman. They were dating at the time. And I found, I think Heidi Somers, and there was somebody else. It was like Tanya Ashley, something. I found them. I found their bodies. I was like, oh my God, this is impressive. I want that body. How do I get that body? So obviously not through cardio. Obviously cardio wasn't gonna help me. So I transitioned. I forced myself pretty much to start lifting, but I was also doing cardio. So I would do like 20 minutes of lifting and then like 30 minutes of cardio. I remember when I made my way into the weight section, first time I wanted to squat a lot. So I put 10s on each side of the bar and I went down to do a squat and I couldn't get back up. So I just dropped it. And I felt so embarrassed. I don't know why. I just felt so embarrassed because all there was on the bar was just 10s. I remember I like looked up and there was a bunch of guys looking at me and I felt I just felt it. I don't know. I didn't feel good. I wasn't confident. I kind of just hid away through high school, binge eating, not wanting to like, I don't know. There's so many things that have happened throughout the whole thing that I want to mention and explain, but then I don't want to give anyone ideas on what I've done, but at the same time I feel like I should mention them, but then they're also going to make me very upset and cry, and I don't want to do that. Let's continue. So yes, I was doing cardio and I was lifting half and half, or 30 and 40 or whatever minutes, and I was still binge eating. I didn't know what to do with eating. I was still taking laxatives. I was kind of puking on and off. I was just not right. My mindset was not right. And I remember I had nobody to tell. I didn't want to tell anyone because anytime I told somebody what I was doing, I felt like they just like looked at me like I was a piece of shit. And they're like, what's wrong with you? Like, stop. I couldn't stop. I just couldn't stop. I don't know, like mentally was my mindset was not right, or I was just going through a phase. I don't know. With time, I kept lifting. I got more experience. I got more comfortable. I was learning more workouts on YouTube, and I was just gathering all this research. So I finally graduated high school, and I think this is when I started my Instagram page. Throughout the whole like my fitness journey, where I would just start crying. I was like, what's wrong with me? I don't feel like I love myself. I'm almost not enough for myself. I feel like a piece of shit for puking, for taking laxatives, for starving myself, and then somehow binge eating later. Mentally, it was not right. I think what helped me the most was I realized cardio, something in my mind made me stop doing cardio. I remember I just wanted to switch to lifting. So this video is gonna be so fucked up. At one point I started using MyFitnessPal to count calories, which the thought of like feeling contained and feeling like I had to eat a certain amount made me feel the same way as binge eating and I had felt before, and I didn't like that at all, but I stuck to it. I remember I was counting calories, and I remember I got stuck because every food I ate felt like a number to me. It didn't feel like I was enjoying food. I didn't feel like I was getting like enjoyment out of food. I felt like I was just consuming food or binge eating. I would have my days where I would still binge eat, but there were some days where I would like make my calories, proteins, all my macros, like I would make it good. And then some other days I would just binge eat. Like, there is no solution. If anyone is out there who is looking for a solution to binge eating, honestly, it will take time. You have to keep trying things. I feel like one thing that has helped me is intermittent fasting. That's what I currently do, and that's what has helped me. And I feel like I get more pleasure and joy out of eating food. Like, I enjoy my food now, and I don't restrict myself. I remember when I counted calories on my PayPal, what? PayPal, my Fitness Pal. There you go. When I counted calories on my Fitness Pal, I felt very restricted. I felt like I feel like it ruined me. I don't know. A lot of people message me and ask me, should I count my calories? Do I count my macros? I personally suggest not to, because it messes with you. Obviously, if you're trying to compete, if you're trying to do some kind of show, go for it, count them. But if you're just trying to lose weight or trying to gain weight, I suggest don't. It messes with you mentally. My whole goal with the gym was to always lose weight. I never had the goal to like actually like build muscle. Never. I don't know what clicked in my mind to just switch to lifting. I don't even remember, but one day I was like, I'm done with cardio. I'm done. I remember I was angry. I was crying. I was like, I'm done binge eating. I'm done doing cardio. I'm done. So I remember I started researching even more, and I found out I should just start lifting. So I stuck to lifting. It was hard in the beginning because I wanted to go do cardio. With lifting, you don't, why am I holding this? With lifting, you don't sweat as much. But with cardio, you're like sweating, so you feel like you're working out. But with lifting, you don't actually feel like you're working out. You're just kind of like there. You know what I mean? I don't know how to properly explain it. I switched a couple gyms. I had a couple gym memberships. At one point, I got a trainer. He showed me all these lifting exercises. He showed me what to eat and like how not to. I feel like he showed me how to actually enjoy food. We don't talk anymore, but I am very thankful that he was in my life and he showed me how to lift properly, good form. I feel like he taught me so much. I suggest anyone who wants to get into lifting, get a trainer, even if it's for a month. How long? I think I only had him for like 5 months as my trainer, but he currently doesn't work at the gym that I go to. So yes, obviously I also switched gyms. This video is gonna suck to edit because I have to hear myself talk and I have to see my eyes roll at myself. I'm gonna be like, punch myself in the face when I watch this video. I want to summarize this video as best as I can, and everything that happened to me in my fitness journey, and just overall, I could mention to you guys all these little things that have happened, but I'm not going to. Maybe in another video I'll mention to you all these things that have happened to me, but everything has brought me to where I am now, and I'm very thankful for that, because I have physically, like, I've been so done with binge eating, and I've been so done with trying to like find confidence in myself, trying to like find a way to love myself, that it's just like I was like done with it. I was just done with it. So like mentally I was like, okay, stop, just stop. Like it was like just like this big slam, just stop it, stop doing this, get your shit straight, stop it. And I was introduced into obviously intermittent fasting. That's what I currently do. 16-hour fasts, sometimes 14-hour fasts. Every day is kind of different, depends. When you're first starting, you're obviously going to get a headache. I don't suggest it for everyone. It's something I do. It's something I actually learned to control. Like I stopped my binge eating because of it. I don't do intermittent fasting. I'm like on and off with it. Like I'll do it for 2 months and then I'll stop for a little bit. And I feel like it's almost made me love food. I don't count calories. I don't count macros. I go to the gym. All I do is lift. I do cardio maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. I'm still like, I'll take protein on occasion, but I don't count anything, and I love that. I don't feel restricted. I don't feel like I have to binge eat and like constantly just eat and force feed myself and just store it. I don't know, but I am happy. Obviously, I'm going to try and include some photos in here. Maybe I'll put them in the end to show you guys like my little fitness journey. No, there's a lot of things I didn't finish with this video on how I made it to where I am, but I did give you guys like a preview of what has happened to me, what I kind of went through. Maybe I will make another video and explain what exactly made me like get triggered and finally start lifting and finally eat right. Yes, right now I'm doing good. I just wanted to say that I am doing amazing. My eating is amazing. I love working out. I've figured how to love myself. I am confident. Obviously, that's why I'm here today. So yes, subscribe to me.